Coming up in the news, the National Tripartite Council giving a listening ear to social partners. Also, the National Training Agency back in business. And hear how you can stop gang activity in schools. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jamila Mizik. Thank you so much for joining us. The National Tripartite Council visiting Grand Bahama to hear the concerns of their social partners and find ways to address them. The body is made up of representatives of the Bahamas government, the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation, the National Congress of Trade Unions Bahamas, and the Commonwealth of the Bahamas Trade Union Congress. The National Tripartite Council, along with the International Labor Organization's Decent Work Program team, on Grand Bahama recently to meet with social partners, which include government representatives, workers' representatives, and employers' representatives. Chairman of the National Tripartite Council, Sharon Martin.
We want to meet with our social partners to get a feel of the temperature of what's going on in Grand Bahama. I think too often people think that the work that's done is just Nassau-centric. And so we want to move away from that aspect. And so far, I would almost want to call this a listening tour. And we're hearing the cries of the different social partners at each level.
She says the main concern expressed was the importance of communication.
Just from listening to what is going on, it seems as if we're doing things in Nassau or in our official positions, and we're not listening to the other constituents who make up the Bahamas. As I've been saying to them today, we are here to serve the Bahamas and not just Nassau.
Martin says through results-based management training, the council will see how best the various outputs fit specifically toward each island.
Let's say an EIIP, which is an employment intensive program. How do we now take that to suit a Grand Bahama? What is happening in Grand Bahama that we need to be able to place a dollar figure on, for example? So we would have formulated a budget to send to cabinet. How much of that budget do we need to place on the different family islands? Because there is a part of the outputs that we're doing is definitely for the family islands.
The National Tripartite Council president says the response has been good from their social partners, and there are some components that can be addressed immediately. The National Training Agency resuming its in-person training for young people between the ages of 16 and 30 years on Grand Bahama with an orientation ceremony at the Freeport Bible Church. The program provides education, skills training, workforce preparation, and job placement assistance. Executive Director Terry Murray says there was an overwhelming response from young people in Grand Bahama who want to be NTA certified.
We are delighted to return to face-to-face training, offering you 4 weeks of the mandatory preparatory program and expanding our offering for an additional 10 weeks of the practical training and teacher's aid for some, an internship for others. It is my belief that we are moving forward in the right direction. As the songwriter states, soon all those around will warm up in our glowing. We anticipate a very successful program. And it is my wish that you continue to carry the spark throughout this cohort.
Senator the Honorable Kirkland Russell encouraging the young people to embrace opportunities at hand, stay focused, and be committed to completing their training.
This administration believes that education is the great equalizer. We plan to develop a framework throughout the National Training Agency to provide opportunities for Bahamians to continue learning and training throughout their life. The National Training Agency Grand Bahama Division had only offered soft skills training in the mandatory workplace preparatory program in recent years. I am pleased that the division has recently extended its reach to include technical skills training in the discipline of teacher's aid. I look forward to more training programs and in other fields to assist young individuals who are unemployed or desiring to sharpen their skills.
Now, since the establishment of the NTA in 2013, more than 6,000 young people have graduated from the skills training program. Now, some good news over on the island of Abaco. Earlier this week, we reported that teachers at the Patrick J. Bethel High School took part in a protest this past Friday, as they have been struggling to put teachers at that institution for over 2 years now. Well, tonight, Education District Superintendent for Abaco and the Keys, Dominique Russell, says the issue is being resolved.
Just that I was given a list. However, their paperwork is still at the public service. And so because that's still at the public service, we could not engage them. As a result of that, the minister came. She actually spoke to some of our retired teachers. And, they had first indicated that they could not support us because they were enjoying their retirement. But she spoke to them personally, and we were able to get 5 of them to assist us at Patrick J. Bethel with math and PE and language arts. And so they came into the school environment on Monday, and they have been given a timetable. They are also being provided training. And so on Friday, the school is going to be bringing in its first set of children.
However, she says housing for the incoming teachers remains an issue that they're hoping to have resolved.
My list has 20 teachers on it and 3 counselors. And so that's what we're expecting. I want potential landlords to work with us because the need for housing is great, and the cost of housing in terms of rentals are just too high. And so we're hoping that, when these teachers come forward, that landlords would work with us and look at the greater good in terms of our children receiving education.
In other news, gang activity is becoming a cause for concern once again following the reported uptick in fights happening on school campuses. A former police officer who once led the school policing unit is giving his take on the issue of gang violence and how to eradicate it. Azure Quant has the story.
Following a recent incident where a student was attacked by alleged gang members, Dr. Robert Higgs, a former police officer in charge of the school policing unit, says that this is nothing new and that there are several ways these activities can be addressed. With substantial knowledge, Dr. Robert Higgs says that while it is not easy to identify students in gangs, there are some things you can look out for.
It's difficult to tell, actually, because they wear the same uniform, they look alike. One of the ways you can trace it is if you know where they came from. For instance, if there's a gang, I prefer to use the word group. If there's a gang inside, say, Caravelle Beach, and you see kids coming from there, the chances are if there's one and you're having these activities taking place in the school, the chances are they probably may have been connected with it.
Now, he says random checks can also help to flush out such activity, adding that police officers can play a significant role in combating gang violence in the schools.
The police is a resource. Oftentimes the police, some of the weapons that are coming in those schools and stuff, teachers are in the schools to teach. They're not there to part fights. They're not there to deal with this type of thing. So let the police know what's going on. The police need a closer relationship with the schools. Once we have these officers in the school, their presence alone deters a lot of stuff. All right? But it's going to be more than that. It's going to be you visiting the schools. It's going to be you walking around those campuses. It's going to be you going in those classrooms, talking to the kids, and getting on their level.
While police have a key role to play, Dr. Higgs notes that parents should pay close attention to their children, highlighting some clear signs that you should look out for.
The parents need to be more vigilant. They need to see what is happening with their kid. One of the things we did back in the school policing days, what we did is we encouraged parents to check the drawers, check what the kids are bringing home. Sometimes they'd bring home, back in the day, it was various electronics, for instance. And the parent may have known, I didn't buy that particular item for the youngster, so where does this come from? So you need to check. You need to check, and then you need to watch your kid behavior. I also encourage parents to visit the school. You can't just go and let your kid go to school every day and you don't go up there one day and speak with the homeroom teacher, or you don't speak with the principal, just out of courtesy. You know, it doesn't have to be anything going on, but that is your job.
Now, Dr. Higgs notes that teachers are the greatest informants and encourages them to get the word out if they have any suspicion on gang activity on their campus. I'm Azure Quant, ZNS Network News.
It has been a busy week so far for police on Grants Bahama after investigations led officials to recovering illegal weapons on the streets of Grants Bahama in 3 separate incidents on Monday. In the first incident, officers of the Drug Enforcement Unit acting on information proceeded to the Pinders Point area in an abandoned building where officers discovered a silver-colored Smith & Wesson. According to reports, the 9mm pistol with a magazine contained 5 rounds within the ceiling of the building situated next to a church. In the second incident, shortly after 6 p.m., officers from the Southwestern Division and the Echo Unit, acting on information, proceeded to an abandoned 2-story apartment complex on Emerald Drive. There, officers discovered a white Samsung A20 cell phone box containing 50 rounds of .45 ammunition. No arrests were made in these matters. In the third incident, a 29-year-old female was arrested and taken into police custody shortly after 10 p.m. after officers of the same division, armed with a search warrant, proceeded to a residence on Richmond Drive. There, officers executed a search of the residence and discovered an enclosed basket in a bedroom and unauthorized possession of a body armor. A further search of the residence ensued with negative results. Investigations into all of these matters are continuing. Stay with us. There's more news right after this break.